Hello, and welcome to Arbor Financial Credit Union's Budgeting Workshop. Budgeting is a key part of building and maintaining financial strength. No matter what your personal financial situation is, knowing how to create and use a budget will help you better manage your money and get closer to reaching your financial goals. Today, you will learn many skills that will help you manage your money and improve your overall understanding of how to achieve and maintain financial health. Let's review our goals for this workshop. Today, you will learn how to use a 5-step plan to create and manage a budget, how to understand different kinds of expenses, needs versus wants, how to set spending and savings goals, strategies to improve savings and manage debt, and strategies to improve and maintain your financial health. Since you may not have all the necessary information to build your own budget right now, we will use scenarios with a character named Marta to help you learn about and practice using a budget. Managing and improving your personal finances are achievable goals. This workshop will teach you some steps and strategies to build that budget wisely. Budgeting is a big part of personal finance management. Before we dive in and talk about building and using a budget, let's talk about what a budget is and what it's used for. First, we will begin with the what, why, and when of budgets. Then, in the next section, we will explore the how. What is a budget? The word budget has a couple of meanings. It can mean an estimate of income and expenses for a set period of time. It can also be a financial roadmap, or a way to plan for and track your spending and savings. Developing a budget can help you identify ways to reduce your spending and or increase your savings. For example, I budgeted for $300 worth of groceries. Why should you use a budget? A budget helps you see exactly what you are spending money on. It helps you determine how much money you spend on certain things, such as rent and utilities. It can help you create a savings plan or allocate a certain amount of money for a specific purpose, and it can help identify ways to pay off credit cards or other debt. When can you use a budget? Budgets can be used regularly to help you maintain good financial practices, or they can be used to help you achieve a specific goal, such as saving for a new computer or wedding reception. In this workshop, we will examine a budgeting worksheet. It's a financial plan to help you understand how much you should spend or save each month. Using a budget worksheet and taking action to plan for spending and saving are helpful ways to manage your personal finances and progress toward financial health and strength. Let's get started. Creating and using a budget or financial plan can be helpful in identifying ways to improve your financial situation, should make you more aware of your financial habits, and may help you find ways to decrease debt and save for the future. Building a budget does not have to be complicated. There are 5 basic steps. Many of you may already be taking some of these actions. Step 1. Getting organized. Ask yourself, do you know where your important financial documents are, such as your tax returns, W-2s, bills, and other loan documents? Do you have a system to keep these documents organized so that they are easy to find? Where do you safely store these documents? Have you identified how long to keep them there before throwing them away, if necessary, shredding them? Step 2. List income. Ask yourself, do you know how much money you make each month after taxes? Your income may come from sources such as wage tips, public assistance, child support, alimony, or even Social Security. Step 3. List expenses. Ask yourself, do you know how much money you spend each month? Do you spend most of your money on necessities such as rent, car payments, childcare, insurance, and or groceries? Or do you spend more than you should on wants such as meals at restaurants or clothing? Step 4. List savings. Ask yourself, do you have any money left over after your expenses each month? Do you know how much you set aside as savings each month? Do you have any savings accounts or other methods for savings? And lastly, Step 5. List debt. Ask yourself, do you have any loans, mortgages, or credit card debt? Do you know how much debt you owe? When you have collected all the necessary documents, you can fill out the budget worksheet on page 9 of your participation guide. But first, let's look at an example to understand how to prepare for making a good budget. We can use Marta's story to learn some strategies to get organized. Turn to page 3, Marta's story of your participation guide. Marta is a 40-year-old woman who works 2 jobs. One at a grocery store, and another as a hostess at a restaurant. Marta often feels overwhelmed by her large debt. She has also paid bills late in the past. One reason is that her personal finances are not very organized. Let's see how the 5-step plan can help her better understand her options, behaviors, and solutions. Marta recognized that her old system of paying bills wasn't working because she often missed due dates and incurred late fees. She decided to develop a system that would work effectively each month to help her stay on top of her bills. She collected all the paperwork related to her monthly income and expenses so that all of her financial documents would be in one place. She decided to use file folders and a box dedicated to this purpose. She found a few recent months of pay stubs, bills, and receipts, and then printed out her credit card and bank statements from her online accounts. In this activity, we'll identify the documents that Marta might need to make her budget. Remember, she only needs documents that will help her track her spending and earning. Refer to page 3, Marta's story, of your participation guide. Circle the documents you think she'll need. The ones that we're going to need for this exercise are loan statements, receipts, bills, credit cards, any social benefits receipts, bank statements, and pay stubs. Marta needs her credit card statements, bills, loan statements, and receipts to show her debt and expenses. She also needs her pay stubs, bank statements, and any social benefit receipts to fully show her income. Once Marta has organized all her financial paperwork in separate and labeled folders, she has completed step 1 and has all the information she needs to continue to steps 2 through 5 of the budgeting plan. Now let's take a look at how Marta made a budget. Marta's sample budget will help you learn how to build, use, and manage a personalized budget. After each step, think about how you might fill out your budget worksheet, which is on page 9 of your participation guide. Turn to page 4, Marta's budget plan, of your participation guide. We just learned how Marta completed step 1, get organized, of the 5-step budgeting process. Next, we will examine the remaining budgeting steps and learn how Marta used them. Income refers to the amount of money earned for almost any source, such as a paycheck, Social Security, or other social benefits. Even if paychecks occur weekly or biweekly, use them to calculate the total monthly income because our budget activities are based on a monthly income figure. In Martha's case, she gets paid every 2 weeks. She has no other forms of income. Marta's strategy for tracking her income was to add up her pay stubs to determine her monthly income and list in the income column. If Marta gets paid $1,000 twice a month, what is her monthly income? $2,000 is the correct answer. Expenses refers to the amount of money spent each month on bills and other items. It's helpful to think of expenses in 2 categories, needs and wants. Needs are things that are necessary for health and well-being, like electricity, transportation, mortgage payment or rent, groceries, childcare. Wants are things you can live without, such as dinners at a restaurant, beauty products, or lottery tickets. Sometimes a want can turn into a need. For example, a new winter coat could be a want, but if your child outgrows their coat, then a new one can become a need. Which of Marta's expenses are wants and which ones are needs? Correct answer: wants include coffee, dining out, entertainment, clothing, and beauty products. Needs include rent, groceries, utilities, car payments, and car and health insurance. Marta came up with a strategy for trimming her expenses. She used receipts, bills, and her credit card statements to determine how much she spent the previous month on needs and listed them in an appropriate space on the worksheet. What is the total dollar amount of Marta's needs? $1,220. What is the total dollar amount of Marta's wants? $210. What are Marta's total expenses? Marta's total expenses equals her needs plus her wants, being $1,220 plus $210, equaling the grand total of $1,430. Disposable income is the amount of income left over after paying expenses. Disposable income is the money available to spend on wants, to put in savings, or pay down debt. It is possible for the amount of disposable income to be zero, or it may be negative. Creating and using a budget can help you find ways to make this amount positive in the future. What is Marta's disposable income after paying for her needs? Marta's total income is $2,000, and her total needs are $1,220. So disposable income after paying for her needs is $2,000 minus the $1,220, remaining $780. She can spend that amount on wants, put into savings, and or pay down debt. What is Marta's disposable income after paying for her wants? Marta spent $210 of her $780 on wants, so her remaining disposable income is the $780 minus the $210, being $570. Savings refers to money that is put aside for safekeeping, a specific savings purpose, or an emergency fund. Depositing money into an interest-earning savings account at a financial institution is one way to increase savings even further. After paying her bills and spending money on extras, Marta has $570 of disposable income left over. Marta has been putting $100 per month into an interest-earning savings account. What will Marta's total savings be in 12 months? Well, it's $100 times 12 equals $1,200 plus interest. What is the amount of Marta's disposable income after putting money towards savings? After Marta put $100 into her savings account, she had $470 of disposable income left. Debt is any amount of money owed to a person or an institution. Examples of debt include car loans, credit card balances, and money borrowed from friends or relatives. Earlier, in Step 3, Marta indicated that she pays $200 towards her credit card debt and $100 towards her student loans. Keep in mind that loans and debt usually have minimum monthly payments that you must pay. We'll go into more detail about debt repayment later. What is Marta's total correct debt? $7,700. This leaves Marta with $170 of disposable income left. What are some possible uses for that $170? A good example, put the full amount into savings, put the full amount toward credit card or student loan payment, spend the full amount on wants, or apply the money toward a combination of savings, debt repayment, and wants. Later, we'll provide guidance on how to reduce debt, but first, we'll examine how Marta could better allocate funds for each category to help her be more effective with her money and improve her financial situation. Thus far, we have seen how Marta used a 5-step process to get her current financial snapshot. Now we will look at some ways Marta can adjust her budget and improve her financial situation. Now that we have an idea of what Marta spends money on and how much she saves, how much debt she owes, and how much disposable income she has left over, we can introduce guidelines to help her improve her budget. There are many ways to help Marta, but we will examine two: the 50-30-20 rule and the categories method. One budget recommendation is to try to spend no more than 50% of your after-tax income dollars on needs, no more than 30% on wants, and at least 20% on savings and debt repayment. Let's use this rule of thumb to examine Marta's financial situation. Turn to page 4, Marta's budget plan, of your participation guide. Note that each month, Marta takes home $2,000 after taxes. According to the 50-30-20 rule, how much can Marta spend on her needs? If it was no more than 50%, it would be $1,000. According to the 50-30-20 rule, how much can Marta spend on her wants? Well, it would be no more than 30% or $600 on wants. And lastly, according to the 50-30-20 rule, how much should Marta spend on her savings and or debt repayment? Being if it was 20%, it would be about $400. So how is Marta doing with her budget according to the 50-30-20 rule? Using the 50-30-20 rule, let's see how Marta is doing. Marta should spend no more than 50% or $1,000 on needs. However, she currently spends $1,220 on needs. Marta may consider moving somewhere with lower rent, consider alternative grocery options, explore using public transportation, or shop around for less expensive car insurance. No more than 30% or $600 on wants. She currently spends $210. This is great, Marta may consider using the extra money to save more or to pay off more of her debts each month. At least 20% or $400 on debts or savings. She is currently hitting the target by making $300 in debt payments and putting $100 into savings. As you can see, the 50-30-20 rule may identify some areas where you should reduce spending, but it can also help you find additional money in your budget to put towards savings and debt repayment goals. Let's examine another way to create a personalized budget. The categories method is another tool that Marta could use to monitor her financial situation. This method is a more detailed breakdown of percentages and categories, and it allocates income according to the detailed needs of a person or household. By thinking about specific categories that you spend money on each month, you can predict how much of your income will be left over for savings and make adjustments to meet your goals. Here is an example of a category budget. 30% for housing, 10% for utilities and other housing expenditures, 10% for groceries, 10% for transportation, 10% for debit repayment, 10% for savings, 5% for dining out, 5% for car insurance and miscellaneous expenses, 5% for clothing, and 5% for entertainment. Please refer to page 4, Marta's budget plan, on your participation guide. Using the categories method, let's see how Marta is doing. Remember, her income is $2,000. Housing, 30% is $600. She spends $600. Utilities, 10% is $200. She spends $100. Groceries, 10% is $200. She spends $200. Dining out, 5% is $100. She spends $70. Transportation, 10% is $200. She spends $200. Car insurance, 5% is $100. She spends $120. Debt repayment is 10%, is $200. She spends $300. Savings, 10% is $200. She spends $100. Clothing, 5% is $100. She spends $100. And entertainment, 5% is $100. She spends $40. These categories can be easily adjusted to suit your personal needs. For example, you might have childcare or educational expenses, or you might have no debt. Your numbers will probably be different. Ideally, Marta should increase her savings. She could also look for ways to reduce expenses. The 50-30-20 rule and the categories method are two ways to help you create a personalized budget. Next, we will examine goal setting as a way for you to personalize your budget even further. An important section to include in your budget is your personal financial goals. While the budget worksheet is a tool that documents spending, expenses, and savings, goals are the guiding force behind them. Changing money habits can be challenging. One way to make change easier and more lasting is to have a personal and meaningful goal to motivate you. Setting goals helps you achieve financial strength. Goals don't just happen by chance, they happen through careful planning, patience, and commitment. Having goals helps people be more mindful of their spending and control bad habits such as impulse buying because the goals are a reminder of their reasons for savings. If you take the time to set financial goals that are meaningful to you, for example, saving for a new laptop, then the small sacrifices of skipping that cafe on the way to work may become easier. With stronger motivations, you will save money not just because your budget indicates that you should, but because you have a specific goal in mind, something you really want. Goals typically fall into 3 categories: short, medium, and long term. Examples include saving money for items such as birthday gifts, a new car, or a down payment on a home. Most of your goals will be personal to your lifestyle and preferences, but we recommend including a couple of important goals. Create an emergency fund. Pay down debt if you have it. Emergencies can appear at any time. They include things such as car repairs, medical bills, or you or your partner's loss of income. Therefore, it is always wise to have extra savings set aside specifically for emergencies. Turn to page 10, My Goals, of your participation guide. Marta wasn't spending a lot on wants, but once she created her short, medium, and long-term goals, she found it was even more important to reduce expenses and increase her savings. Her goals included the following: short-term, save for a friend's wedding present, buy a new phone, pay off credit cards. Medium-term, pay off student loans, buy a new computer, take a vacation, and long term, save for a down payment on a house, and buy a new car. Take a few moments to think about some of your short, medium, and long-term goals. Write them in the space provided on page 10 of your participation guide and estimate how much each of them cost. Upon review, who had retirement as a goal? What other goals did you have? Do you feel inspired or discouraged to reach them? Do you feel confident that you could create a budget to achieve them? When you see your goals written down, they can be both overwhelming and inspiring. Having financial goals can help you plan by adjusting some of your current spending and saving habits. Goals can motivate you to change your mindset, behaviors, and habits. But if you have a lot of debt, your goals could also be discouraging. How can you ever think about saving for the future when you currently owe so much money? While debt can seem overwhelming at times, paying off debt and staying out of debt are achievable goals. We will examine 2 methods that can help you become debt-free. The first step in paying off debt is having a realistic picture of your current financial situation. Let's look at 2 different strategies to pay it down: the ladder method and the snowball method. List all your debts from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. Determine the percentage of income you allocated to debt payments when creating your budget. Ensure that your monthly minimum payments are met for each debit category. After all your expenses are covered, consider using some of the disposable income you have left over to pay off the loan with the highest rate first. Turn to page 6, Strategies for Paying Off Debt, of your participation guide. Let's look again at Marta's debt to illustrate how to use the 2 different strategies to pay it down. Take a look at Marta's debt worksheet from the ladder method. Help her determine which debt she should pay off first using this method. The ladder method strategy includes listing debts in order from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. Marta's credit card A has the highest interest rate. After paying the minimum monthly payment for her credit card and student loans debt, Marta should put the entire $170 of her disposable income toward the balance of that credit card. Another debt reduction method is the snowball method. List all your debts from smallest balances to largest balances. Determine the percentage of income you allocated to debt payments when creating your budget. Ensure that your monthly minimum payments are met for each debit category. After all your expenses are covered, use some or all of your disposable income to pay off the smallest balances first. Turn to page 6, Strategies for Paying Off Debt, of your participation guide. Take a look at Marta's debt worksheet for the snowball method. Help her determine which debt she should pay off first using this method. The snowball method suggests listing debts in order from smallest balances to largest balances. Marta's credit card B has the smallest balance. After paying the minimum monthly payment on her credit card and student loans debt, Marta should put her remaining disposable income of $170 toward the balance on that credit card. Which method do you think works best for Marta's situation? The snowball method may help Marta feel like she is making progress because she could potentially pay off one entire credit card B, in 1 to 3 months. However, she is paying more for credit card A, which has the higher interest rate, so using the latter method would help her save money in the long run. Like many people starting a new project, Marta feels committed to and excited about her financial planning. But as with any project, sometimes it is hard to maintain momentum. Let's look at some ways to encourage healthy habits. The key to finding success in personal finance is having daily, weekly, and monthly check-ins to remain connected to your goals and on top of your habits. Once you have created a budget, personalize it to your lifestyle, set your goals, and become mindful of your money habits, it is essential that you have regular check-ins. By keeping on top of your receipts, bills, credit card statements, bank statements, and debt totals, you should be better positioned to improve your financial situation. Compiling daily receipts, if any, and totaling along with other bills each week can make tracking your monthly income and expenses more efficient. You should also review all your bills and credit card statements to make sure there are no mystery purchases or mistakes. After writing down your goals and making plans to accomplish them, you may need help. Some people seek advice from a financial institution or a financial advisor about certain products that can help them meet their goals, such as retirement. Others may contact not-for-profit credit counseling agencies to help them regain control of their financial situation. Don't feel like you are making sacrifices when you budget. Instead, think of budgeting as a way to keep you on track to meet your goals and earn the things you really want. Turn to page 11, Maintaining Financial Strength and Health, of your participation guide. What do you think would help you develop or improve healthy financial habits? Today, we covered many steps, tools, strategies, and behaviors that can positively affect your personal finances if used regularly. I encourage you to take the time to use these tools to improve and maintain your finances. Improving your personal financial situation is achievable with thoughtful attention, regular maintenance, and improved habits. Once you get a clear and honest picture of where your money is being spent by using a budget, you can take steps to make changes, such as reducing unnecessary expenses or increasing savings. Setting personal, meaningful goals helps you to stay motivated and on track in both the short and long term. Regular check-ins and seeking help from professionals are additional ways to become more informed and aware of your financial situation and options.